Hello, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about two great modifiers, and they are the bevel tool and the subdivision surface modifier. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to add a cube right here real quick. All right, let's start by showing you the destructive way of creating a bevel. All right, so I'm just going to go into edit mode. I'm going to select these three edges right here, and I'm going to press Control B in the keyboard, and as I'm scrolling with the the mouse middle button, I'm adding subdivisions to this bevel. I'm having just a lot of subdivisions here, and I'm gonna stop around right there. There you go, something like this. Okay, and you can see this little menu that it will be kind of like this. It will be uh, minimized. I'm gonna maximize right there. And there's a bunch of options here. We're just going to focus in like this kind of options here that allows you to kind of modify the width of the bevel. And this is the amount of subdivisions that you can add. So we're going to keep it kind of like 20. That's fine. So there's a bunch of other options here. We're just going to focus on, I'm going to kind of lightly touch these options, but I want to focus in. I'm going to go to custom real quick right here. And right now, we have this thing going on, right? We don't have anything. This line is totally flat right now. There's a bunch of, you'll see right now in a second. So this is what it represents right here. This line right here, kind of like what's happening right there, all right? So if you want to create something custom, like on your own, like, whatever you want to do, you just touch this thing right here, and it will literally just adopt the shape that you just created right there. I'm just gonna kind of do something like this, and I'm gonna put these two control points right here. By clicking, you just add another point, right? But I'm just making stuff up here. I'm just, trying to see what I can come up with. Something like that. I don't know. You can do your own custom thing, or you can just use the presets. Like the default will be like the straight one, and support loops. I don't know what this is. And I'm going to like corner. I think it was like, what is cornice Malden. And let's see if we add more subdivisions. What happens here is literally just adding more resolution to it. Obviously, it's gonna get super dense, so you have to be careful with that. Something like that. And let's go to this one right here. Look at that, interesting. And let's go with steps. There you go. So there's a bunch of options here, a bunch of like presets that you can select from, or you can just create your own. Once you click outside of these options, that is it. Okay. Once I just go and be like, all right, this is what I mean by destructive. Okay. So I'm gonna add another cube right here. I'm gonna move it to the side, right there. All right. If I go again and do the same thing, Ctrl B, it will literally add the last option that I did for the bevel. All right. So you can just go to this option right here, and you just reduce the amount of subdivisions that you have. Something like this. So you don't, so you go back to the basics if you don't want to use the custom one. All right. So I'm going to add now, let's try with non-destructive way. All right. For the non-destructive way, we're going to use a modifier. Okay. We're going to go here to, also my UI looks kind of different, but because this side will be kind of like around here. So it's basically the same thing. You just find this key right there. Go to, click over here, add modifier, and go to bevel right there. Go generate and go to bevel. And it immediately is, let me activate also here the wireframe so you can see what's going on. So immediately you're going to see that it created like this. It gives you these options right here. Right now, there's just one subdivision, one segment. So we're going to add a bunch of segments here, and we're going to increase also the the amount of the bevel in this object, right? And we're gonna do kind of like this. That's fine. There you go. I'm going to increase this quite a bit here. So now if you go to profile, you're going to see it's the same thing that we got over there. But in this case, now it's kind of, it's modular. You can just get out of it. You go to edit mode and you still have it right there. It doesn't go away. You can just turn it off and it goes back to the original cube, Or if I duplicate this right here and I delete the modifier, it goes back to the original cube. So you don't lose anything. It's literally, that's why it's kind of like a non-destructive procedural type of option. So you can just reverse whenever you want. And in this case, I can just literally do that. Okay, that's it. That's basically it. How the bevel modifier works in the option with without using the bevel modifier. You will literally just go to any edge, Ctrl B, and you will add a bevel right there. Simple as that. You can go over here, do the same thing, and you can just continue doing the same thing. You can just select everything and just Ctrl V and just gonna do it. It's gonna look ugly, the subdivision is gonna be all over the place, the geometry, but that's essentially how bevel works. Just select an edge and press Ctrl V, and that's it. Even if you select a face like I just did, and it will literally just bevel those selected edges that you have right there. All right, like this one here has four edges. If you do that, it's going to be the same thing, just like that. All right. So, all right. Now that we have the bevels, that we check on the bevels, let's move this to the back here real quick, and just like that. And I'm going to add another cube. And now let's go to the modifier subdivision surface. This is a great modifier. Like right now, you saw that immediately after I added that modifier, it kind of like it shrunk and added more subdivisions, right? So I don't have it selected right now, so as you can see that there you go. So it killed the main how you will use this is just to soften out an object and with more resolution in a more procedural way. Okay, it's also non-destructive. You can add more resolution here, but you gotta be careful how much you're gonna add, because this literally it goes up a lot. So you have to gotta be careful with that. I'm gonna add a shader smooth here so we can see what's going on. You can see that it has one edge. You can see those edges on the corners, right? Those are the original edges of the cube. If I go into edit mode, you see we haven't actually modified this cube at all. This is just using this modifier. If I turn it off, it goes back to the original cube. Just like that. You're literally procedurally adding more subdivision to the cube or adding more geometry to it. So if I just click that and extrude, I'm literally gonna be just, adding kind of like that, but let me rotate in the y-axis, something like that. And I'm gonna extrude that a little bit. I'm gonna add a subdivisions right here in the middle that we saw in the last video. And I'm gonna select 3, and I'm going to extrude that. And I'm gonna kind of like move this in the y-axis, wait, what am I doing? The x-axis, something like that. And then gonna add another subdivision kind of like around right here. And now I'm gonna go to 3, select this one's right here, and kind of do this. And now go to the back, kind of like that. Anyway, I don't know. This is I just got carried away. So now that if you go back to the original object, I turn it off. This is essentially what this is. That's it. It looks like that, but when you turn it on, there you go. If you want to see how the actual geometry looks like, you can just turn this off right here, optimal display. And now you can see how much geometry has actually added to the object. So if you go to edit mode and you turn this on right here, you can see the actual, you can see it in the edit mode, because sometimes when you're, like this, you see the cage is literally as the object, how the object actually is. But if you turn this on, it will kind of like conform to the form that you have created using the modifier. I don't know if that makes sense to you right now. But in other words, subdivision surface is super useful to kind of add this type of, to model objects, just, make them soft like this, and to create nice curves and nice edges and, stuff like that. And I'm dying to add a modifier real quick and do something like this that we're gonna see later on. Let me just real quick. Let me just because my oh my god, hold on real quick. There you go. Oh Lord, there you go. We're gonna see this modifier later on, so don't pay attention to that right now. So I just wanted to say I just wanted to say this real quick because kind of saw that it looks like an airplane type of thing. I'm just gonna do this right here, kind of like that, and I'm just going to extrude that. But you saw that because I'm using this thing right here real quick. Let me just put it to the top here. There you go. All right, and I'm just gonna delete those faces right there. All right. Anyways, yes. All right. Let's that's kind of nice. Anyways, let's recap. Bevel, you can select an edge and add a bevel manually with Ctrl V to any edges that you have, including faces. It will just add the bevel to the edges of that face. You can do it in a destructive way or a non-destructive way, kind of procedural, to control how the shapes look. And using like profiles or not profiles, just overall softness on the edges of an object. And then we move to the subdivision surface modifier. Is pretty useful. It's used quite a lot, and it's very dynamic. As you can see, it's a lot of options here for you to like play around with. This is the original shape, and if you don't want to see that, you can see the geometry that the modifier has added. If you want to see more resolution, you can increase it right here. This one right here is how the object is going to look when you render the object. If you have it in 2, it's going to render instead of 3 subdivisions, all right? So let's say that you have it in 5. When you render this scene, you're going to see the resolution in 2, not 5, okay? Just have that in mind. All right, so there you have it. Bevels and subdivision surface, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.